G'day guys, welcome back to Out of Range 4x4. Been a very, very long time since I last uploaded a video. I think it was like May, June since I last uploaded. And I did record something. I did record a Oz10 swag review, which I have just never edited and never uploaded. So I'll have to get to that. Anyway, I figured I need to start recording videos again. So here I am, back up in the Watergans, the usual spot. Today I'm going to do a video on my Canopy tour, because I did one as my very first video and a lot has changed since. As you can probably see there, things are a little bit different. Ignore the mess. I kind of just throw everything in it. But yeah, I was going to tell you guys what has worked and what hasn't worked on my Canopy setup. So that way, if you've got a new four-wheel drive or you're looking to change your setup up, it might give you some ideas, might show you some new cool products or anything. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. So for those that are new to the channel or have never watched one of my videos before, or have never even watched the first video, which fair enough, it was, you can probably hear in the background, cicadas. I had a terrible camera with a terrible microphone. I didn't have these little ones. So it was very hard to actually hear what I was saying. I pretty much just uploaded a 10-minute video of cicada noise. So, you know, I went and bought new cameras and everything. So everything's new now, everything's better. But pretty much the way my car is set up is that it's a, obviously, Ford Ranger, for those who don't know, but I have a Mitsa alloy canopy and tray on it. So it's a Gen 1 tray with a Gen 2 canopy. So all it means with the Gen 1 tray is I don't have trundle tray in there. And if you come up the front here and you peek down here, I don't have a water tank sitting there. When you get the newer trays, you can get all those, but because it's an old tray, I can't get it. And coming with the canopy, because it's Gen 2, what it has all these little channels and stuff inside the canopy, like those right there, and or along it at the bottom and stuff. You can mount all your things inside. And on the outside of it, we've got a ladder. And then also on the canopy is got the roof rack. And the canopy also has two side toolboxes, which this one is just ratchet straps and my bottle jack. Yeah, not really messy. Don't open it because they smell. And then around the other side is just extension cords. Not sure what else to put in them because a little bit of sand and stuff, as you can see, does get in there every now and then. So I try not to keep anything that, you know, I want clean to stay in there. So that's pretty much everything that came on the canopy. So we'll get to the inside. Now, the reason as well I'm only going through the canopy instead of my whole car tour is because not much has changed in the front end of the car compared to the back end. So, like, there's one little thing I'll go over, but the only things that have pretty much changed is that I have moved my seat organizer that was on the back of my passenger seat to the driver's seat. And I have this little sunflower courtesy of the missus. And I've moved my radio. As you can see, the handheld is now down there. And I have a new dash cam. That's pretty much it. And as for this whole part down here of the car, that's a funny part. I'll show you that. So when I got the car, I replaced the rear leaf springs because they were pretty much gone, and I haven't replaced anything in the front of the suspension. I have it booked in about a month's time to get it all replaced because currently it sounds like this. Yeah, every speed bump or any little bump that I go over, everyone turns and looks their heads at the car. It's not fun. So we'll get started on the actual canopy tour now. I guess what I had originally when the canopy was first set up is I had my passenger side had nothing on it but my fridge and a battery box. And if we walk around to the driver's side, originally I had those XTM drawers you just saw. I had 3 of them lined up here. As you can see, now I have completely emptied this side of drawers. Obviously, I've got a pile of things here and there and mandatory Tiny Teddy's box. But fridge is still on the other side and I've got a new shelf in there. So what I found when I originally had fridge on the other side and 3 drawers here, which I'll find some old footage from the first video and I'll show you for a comparison so you don't have to go watch the video. So I originally had the 3 drawers stacked there, and no, I didn't have the shelf when I first got the car. I found it really easy to store things because you knew that everything in your drawer was on this side and anything long like the swag you could throw on top. And then coming back over to the passenger side, I obviously originally only had a battery box sitting here behind the drawer, and then I had a fridge without a fridge slide, which I actually have one of those now. I'm no longer, you know, reaching in the fridge for no reason. And I had nothing here, which is where I could store my big bulky items. But then I started to run into the problem that I couldn't store anything lengthwise of the canopy because, you know, I had drawers on the other side, and then I had a fridge here, and I didn't really get the chance to store anything that had, you know, a lot of length to it. So I ended up getting this shelf from Mitts Alloy, which didn't come with this little shock net, which I made that myself a couple months ago because I was always getting stuff falling off. And when I put that shelf in, if you look at the height of one of the bottom drawers there to the shelf, you only get pretty much the height of that drawer, which wasn't much, I found. So I had the 3 drawers here and the shelf, and it wasn't really working because I could barely store anything here. So I couldn't really store, you know, a swag or a gazebo. And when you come around to the other side, I only had that little section there to store things. So I came into, you know, the struggle of not having a lot of space. So I ended up changing the canopy setup. And what I ended up changing it to was I had 2 drawers, just like those 2 stacked on top of here. I got rid of the 3rd drawer. That way I had this basically whole area to where the fridge is clean. Obviously shelf still on top, and then that whole length down. And that little corner there where you've got the recovery gear and stuff, that was all the same as it pretty much is now, except the battery was in a different spot. I was still running into the problem that I had not enough room and couldn't really store anything other than, you know, little square boxes and that by playing Tetris. So went away with that setup, ended up not liking it, scrapped it, and haven't been away with this setup now, but I've completely changed it. So you can see the other side is completely empty now. I've got rid of the 3rd drawer. I have got my 2 drawers on this side. Shelf still on that side, because that way I still get space to store something up here, and I can just put a tie down point here to keep it on. And I actually have something new, never before seen in this car, a fridge slide. And a new fridge, actually. I have an angle fridge now, except it's actually Dad's that I took because my Dometic one stopped working. And I put the fridge slide in because I didn't have anything behind it. And I figured, you know what, I can use the space, and makes girlfriend's life a little bit easier because I can see into the fridge fine, but, you know, struggle for everyone else but me because I'm so tall. So that's pretty much the new setup. All right, now that we've kind of talked about the storage aspect of the canopy, obviously, you know, I kind of brushed over it, but I was just telling you where it was and where I'm up to now. The drawers as well, I have the 1 cooking drawer, and then above I've got the tool and camping drawer and stuff, and then the rest of the camping things are pretty much just stored up on that shelf up there. You can see all the King's bags and stuff. And the next thing I was going to talk about was actually the 12-volt system. As you can see here, I've actually got some coloured little lights, and I've got 6 of these. I've only got 4 installed, so I've got 2 on either canopy door, and there's some on the other side too. And these white LED bar lights that I used to have originally, I've mounted differently. So I've now got 2 up on the bar here that point downwards, and I've actually got 2 on the insides of the canopy that point inwards. So if you turn them on now, not going to see much in the daylight, but now you can see that, you know, the canopy area lights up. And I've got the exact same over on the other side there. You can see the bar lights turning on. One new thing that wasn't there in the original Canopy Tour, there's actually 2 new things. I've got just a King's LED light up here. I got that one for free, and I went, you know what, I'll install it. So when you turn this one on switch, what it does is it lights up this whole area here. So, you know, if the car's parked up and everyone's sitting around the chairs and stuff here, turn that light on, no worries, you're all done. However, if we hit the other switch, I've actually got out the back, I've got 2 Ridge Rider lights, which they light up this whole area. They're really bright lights. What I'll do though is I'll get some night footage, and I'll show you how the lights act during the night, because obviously it's sunny. You're not going to see anything with them now. And this is what I'm saying, the other side is I've got the same thing. I've got the coloured lights on either end, and what they will do is they're not to light up the canopy, they will light up the whole ground around it, and they're Ridge Rider RGB rock lights as well. So you can see there's 3 lights there. I can change the colours of them. And this side, same deal. I've got my white LEDs here. They've also got both sides have got a dimmer on them too. It doesn't change colour because they're just the generic white ones, but Still got a dimmer and everything. So now that you've seen the lighting of the canopy and how that's changed, what I was going to show you is the slightly messy 12-volt setup that I've created. Originally, when I first recorded the Canopy Tour video, I had just a generic AGM battery in a King's battery box hooked up to a DC-DC charger, which was running to a control box, and all it pretty much powered was these white LED lights. And what I've now done is still got the battery there, gotten rid of the King's battery box. I've just gone and gotten a battery tray. So now that sits nice and flush in between two of the channels. And DC-DC is still there, still the same AGM battery. It's still going strong. I've got a quad lock mount here, which I believe was there last time. That's pretty much just, you know, if you've got your phone charged on the USBs here, you can just slap it up there. And then I've got something new here, a Dometic 350 watt inverter. It has a 700 watt jumpstart current. I've pretty much put that in, not to run microwaves or toasty presses and stuff, purely just to run like camera, laptop chargers, tool chargers, and the air mattress and stuff when I go away. Because it's only 350 watt, it only does little things, but I don't have the big enough battery to go and throw a 1000 watt inverter in there, and I don't want to fork out that money. So yeah, obviously up the top here, we'll hide that. That's my wiring mess at the moment. I still need to sort this out properly and shorten all the cables in it, because that's the cables for these lights. A lot of mess in there, so we'll ignore that one temporarily. One key thing too that I really like about the Mitsubishi Canopy, that I'm not sure how many other canopy manufacturers have, I haven't really done my research on that, is the uni-stop channels that I mentioned earlier. So I've actually got the shelf. If you look up here, it's bolted in to those channels, and I think that's the only thing I've got actually mounted on those channels, other than behind this light over here. I've got a bunch of tie-down points, and each of them is using the channel nut, and then I can move those around. So when I put my water jerry cans in, I can put those tie-down points on the ground channels here, tie them all up so they don't move. Same with all boxes and stuff. I could tie down all the tools in the stove if I wanted, but I don't really need to. They don't really move around as much. But that's one thing I really like about the Canopy, which I've obviously covered before, but you know, if you never watched the original video and you don't know much about them, they have them. They're really lovely. They're really handy. And yeah. Right. There's one bigger thing that's changed on the outside of the Canopy that I haven't really like made any change to. Yeah, I haven't fixed the problem. My awning, the King's 270 awning that I've done a video on before, which seems to be the only video that's getting views. It's at like 7,000 views, and it's been out for like a year now, nearly. And I don't know why it's the only one getting views. Obviously, people search it up, they want a review. And yeah, I removed it. Gone. I still have it. It's at home sitting in the garage, but I've taken it off, and I've also taken off the mounting that comes with it, because I kind of needed some roof clearance. I sit at 2.15 at the peak of that solar panel up there, which is the top. That way I can actually get into underground car parks. So as I did say in the beginning of the video, I was going to talk about, you know, what worked and what didn't work. And obviously I did briefly cover the different setups I've had and what I've got now in terms of one side completely clear, obviously aside from the shelf, but most of the time when I stack things, they don't ever reach the shelf, and having my drawers and fridge and battery and everything on one side. So far, I like this setup a lot more. I haven't camped in it yet. I am planning on soon, but I I'm going to be able to actually store things properly. I've got these black storage boxes I can use to store food. I'm actually going to be able to stack them in now. I can stack 2 of them up here. I may have to relocate fire extinguisher, but that's fine. That's a little thing anyway. And yeah, I can store a lot more things as opposed to when I had the drawers here. I couldn't store anything on top of them because everything would fly off. So it means everything I had, basically stove, toolkit, the other toolkit, you know, camp chair, they all had to sit in that one spot. And the problem was, go around the corner just a little bit too hard, everything flies off. And, you know, big metal box, you can actually hear that toolkit sliding and smacking doors and things. You can hear that while you're driving. Not a good sound. So if you're going to set up a new canopy, that one like, you know, wing doors, not so much one where you've got like a tub canopy where you've got the tailgate in the back, you've pretty much got to set them up completely differently. But I definitely would recommend trying to keep one side clear, or at least, you know, 3/4, 2/3 of a side clear, because that way you're able to store things. It depends on what you're going to store as well. Like tent, I'm never going to store the Oz tent, the RV5 in here. That's going to go on the roof rack. However, the swag fits perfectly end to end in here. Now that I've got no drawers, I can stack that on top of something or under. And I also definitely would recommend having a fridge slide. I've obviously only just had that for like, what, a couple weeks now. Yeah, it's much handier because now I can actually see in the fridge. Not that there's anything in there at the moment, but yeah, I don't know why I never put one in. Really, it was a silly decision. And definitely having some drawers because, as I said, I store all the cooking things in here. Like I've just got seasonings, I've got the gas hose, I've got the cutlery kits and plenty of other things. And then obviously top one, I got all the drawers and camping stuff. Like you can see, I've got my fans here. I've got all the fuel for my jet boil. That's in here as well. Definitely would recommend getting some drawers like that, or even maybe one of the pantries. I know my brother has one of those and he always puts food in there and they look really handy, but I've just never bothered to fit one. Now that I have this extra space to move that fridge slide over, I probably could put a pantry in there, but at the moment, no, unless anyone wants to give me one for free. Then we'll talk about it. But yeah, I definitely recommend having the fridge slide at least, or if you've got an upright fridge, that works as well. Or MSA do their drop-down ones, would be even easier, but the price of them slowly starts to go up and up. And yeah, having drawers definitely, and having a clear space on the other side definitely, because as I said, I originally started out with drawers and fridge, and I had no room to put anything. Complete struggle. Yeah, so those would be my recommendations, but I need you guys to give me a recommendation. I mentioned earlier, I got 6 of these lights and only got 4 installed. So I also got another 2 to put somewhere. I need some recommendations on where to put them, because I got a 3D printer. I could 3D print like a little mount, put them up on the corners, or I could slap them down under the tray here to light up the ground. Because obviously the purpose of those ones is just to light up the floor. It's not to light up the canopy. So if I had 2 out the back, could light up the ground. Just not really sure where to put them. So any suggestions would be good. But if you have any other questions about the canopy or other things I've tried, or if you want to see, you know, a more in-depth of anything, just comment down below, let me know. But please subscribe for more. I intend to actually upload a little bit more this year because I got lazy and I bought, you know, $400 GoPro you're looking at it from, and a bunch of quad lock mounts. Like I've got this new one here, the suction cup, and I got a whole tripod here. I got a camera. I got all these things that I don't use, so I need to start recording a bit more. So please leave any suggestions of things you want, any places you might think I should go camping. I am going camping at a place in just over 2 months, and I will make a video about that. But yeah, don't worry, suspension's getting fixed soon, so there should be an actual four-wheel driving video, because, you know, at the moment that's very creaky. So yep, subscribe and stay tuned for more.